Shalom, everyone. It's me, Brother Doug, again. Sorry for being a little late today. I really wanted to actually start the meeting about a half an hour ago, but I kind of overslept. So anyway, all right. So it's really annoying. Facebook Live is never working on Zoom anymore on my computer, so don't know what's up with that. Anyway, all right. So we're going to continue today's study. So we're going to be going into the book of Leviticus. Pretty much, we're going to see how far we get. I definitely want to at least get to the first 3 chapters of it, since the first 3 chapters are about, 15, 16 verses each. So here we go. All right, we're going to start off here. Laws for the burnt offerings. Okay. And Yahuwah called Moshe again and spoke to him out of the tabernacle witness, saying, Speak to the children of Yasharal, and you shall say to them, If any man of you shall bring gifts to Yahuwah, you shall bring your gifts of the cattle and of the oxen and of the sheep. So specifically, he gives you specific animals here, right? So of the cattle, oxen, sheep, ox, cows, sheep, lambs, so very specific here, okay? If his gift be a whole burnt offering, he shall bring an unblemished male of the herd to the door of the tabernacle of witness, meaning, basically the tabernacle. So this would be the tabernacle in the wilderness. So notice how he has to bring it into the tabernacle, right, to sacrifice it. Can't just be anywhere. He shall bring it as acceptable before Yahuwah, and he shall lay his hand on the head of the burnt offering as a thing acceptable for him to make atonement for him. Obviously, Yahusha is our atonement for our sins now, once and for all, so we don't have to do this anymore because this was transferred to Yahusha. Yeah, so anyway, common sense there. So, like I said, this is why Paul says in the book of the Hebrews, there was a change in the Torah. Not that the Torah is done away with, but that there was a change in the law. So, and they shall slay the calf before Yahuwah, and the sons of Aaron the priest shall bring the blood, and they shall pour the blood round about on the altar, which is at the doors of the tabernacle of witness, and having flayed the whole burnt offering, they shall divide it by its limbs. And the sons of Aaron the priest shall put fire on the altar and shall pile wood on the fire. Notice how it says the sons of Aaron are the priests. They are to be doing this. They are to be putting fire on the altar. Okay? Very specific. And the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall pile up the divided parts, and the head, and the fat, and on the wood, on the fire, the wood which is on the altar. And the entrails, the feet, they shall wash in water, and the priest shall put all on the altar. It is a burnt offering, a sacrifice, a smell of sweet savor to Yahuwah. And if his gift be of the sheep to Yahuwah, or of the lambs, or of the kids, for meaning, baby goat is a kid. Okay. For the whole burnt offerings, he shall bring it a male without blemish. He shall lay his hand on his head, and they shall kill it by the side of the altar toward the north before Yahuwah, meaning the north side of the tabernacle. And sorry, guys. Sorry about that. And he shall lay his hand on its heads, and they shall kill it by the side of the altar towards the north before Yahuwah, and the sons of Aaron the priest shall pour its blood on the altar round about, and they shall divide it by its limbs, and its head, and its fat, and the priest shall pile them up on the wood which is on the fire, on the altar. And they shall wash the entrails, the feet, with the water, and the priest shall bring all the parts and put them on the altar. It is a burnt offering a sacrifice, a smell of sweet savor to Yahuwah. And if he bring his gift, a burnt offering to Yahuwah of birds, then shall he bring his gift of doves or pigeons. And the priest shall bring it to the altar, and shall wring off its head. And the priest shall put it on the altar, and shall wring out the blood at the bottom of the altar. And he shall take away the crop with the feathers, and shall cast it forth by the altar toward the east to the place of the ashes. And he shall break it off from the wings, and shall not separate it. And the priest shall put it on the altar, on the wood, which is on the fire. It is a burnt offering and sacrifice, a sweet-smelling savor to Yahuwah. So this is the introduction to the burnt offerings and the whole burnt offerings and the free will offerings, the gifts. So as we see so far that have been mentioned are the cattle, also if it's a bird to be used as a gift or a burnt offering, they are to do the doves and the pigeons. Very specific commandments here. He even tells them how to pour the blood out, how to, cut off the head of the bird so that the blood drains out. So pretty much self-explanatory there. So it's pretty much self-explanatory. It's very specific. You notice a lot of this had to do with the priests and having to put them on the altar and having them to make the wood of the fire on the altar for the burnt offering. So again, it's very specific. So we're going to move on to chapter 2 here of Leviticus. Laws for grain offerings. So now this is dealing with actually grain offerings like bread. Okay, so if a being bring a gift, a sacrifice to Yahuwah, his gift shall be fine flour. He shall pour oil upon it, and shall put frankincense on it. This is a sacrifice. So obviously, very specific here. He has to put oil in it, frankincense on it. So there you go. And shall bring it to the priests. Notice it's being brought to the priest. The person that's giving the offering is not doing it himself. Okay. He shall bring it to the priests, the sons of Aaron. Again, the sons of Aaron, having taken from it a handful of fine flour with the oil and all of its frankincense, then the priest shall put the memorial of it on the altar. It is a sacrifice, an odor of sweet savor to Yahuwah. Okay. All right. And the remainder of the sacrifice shall be for Aaron and his sons, a most set apart portion from the sacrifices of Yahuwah. And if he bring as a gift a sacrifice of baked from the oven, a gift to Yahuwah of the flour, he shall bring unleavened bread kneaded with oil, and unleavened cakes anointed with oil. And if a gift be a sacrifice from a pan, this is talking about a frying pan here, the fine flour mingled with oil, unleavened offerings, you shall break them into fragments and pour upon them. It is a sacrifice to Yahuwah. If your gift be a sacrifice from the earth, it shall be made of fine flour with oil, and he shall offer the sacrifice which he shall make of these to Yahuwah, and shall bring it to the priest. And the priest shall approach the altar, and shall take away from the sacrifice a memorial of it, and the priest shall place it on the altar, a burnt offering, a smell of sweet savor to Yahuwah. And that which is left of the sacrifice shall be for Aaron and his sons, most set apart from the burnt offerings of Yahuwah. And this is why we cannot do any of the offerings. This is why there has to be a Levitical priesthood to do any offering, any sacrifices. Because even the sacrifices that were not for sin, Aaron and the priest had a share of the sacrifices. Yahuwah was their inheritance, right? So again, this is why we have to wait for the Levitical priesthood to come back, even to do sacrifices that were not for sin. They still, a portion of the sacrifices that weren't even for sin were given to the priest. If that makes any sense, okay? So anyway, just to explain that, okay? You shall not leaven any sacrifice which you shall bring to Yahuwah, for as to any leaven or any honey, you shall not bring of it to offer a gift to Yahuwah. You shall bring them in the way of the fruits to Yahuwah, but they shall not be offered on the altar for a sweet-smelling savor to Yahuwah. Okay, so honey cannot be offered. That's interesting. And obviously, Yahuwah doesn't want leaven in his sacrifices, as we read yesterday in Exodus. And every gift of your sacrifice shall be seasoned with salt. Omit not the salt of the covenant of Yahuwah from your sacrifice. On every gift of yours you shall offer salt to Yahuwah your Elohim. And if you would offer a sacrifice of first fruits to Yahuwah, it shall be new grains, ground and roasted for Yahuwah. So shall you bring the sacrifice of the first fruits. And you shall pour oil upon it, and shall put frankincense on it. It is a sacrifice. And the priest shall offer the memorial of it taken from the grains with the oil and all its frankincense. It is a burnt offering to Yahuwah. So pretty short chapter. I think you get the gist of it. Okay, so this is how they were to offer grain offerings. Again, the context is they're bringing them to the priest to be offered to Yahuwah. They would have to make sure to not omit the salt. They would have to make sure that it's not leavened. They would have to make sure that you have salt, frankincense, and oil upon it when it's being offered. But you cannot offer honey. You cannot offer leaven. So I find that very interesting. So we're going to kind of speed things along. I definitely want to at least read this chapter, and we'll see how we're doing on time. I might get to chapter 4, if possible. But chapter 4 is kind of a long one, I'm not going to lie. So we might stop at chapter 3 today, just for time's sake, guys. Our group might also meet with my brothers and sisters tonight. We usually meet on Sabbath evenings. So we're going to we might be doing something this evening. We might be doing a recording this evening. So anyway, so I definitely want to do Leviticus chapter 3 here. So here we go. Laws for peace offerings. And if his gift to Yahuwah be a peace offering, he should bring it of the oxen, whether it be male or whether it be female. He shall bring it unblemished before Yahuwah, and he shall lay his hands on the head of the gift. He shall slay it before Yahuwah by the doors of the tabernacle of witness. And the priest, the sons of Aaron, shall pour blood on the altar of burnt offerings round about. And they shall bring of the peace offering and burnt sacrifice to Yahuwah, the fat covering the belly and all the fat on the belly. And the 2 kidneys and the fat that is upon them, he shall take away that which is on the thighs, and the caul above the liver, together with the kidneys. And the priest, the sons of Aaron, shall offer them on the altar, on the burnt offering, on the wood which is on the fire upon the altar. It is a burnt offering, a smell of sweet savor to Yahuwah. And if his gift be of sheep, a peace offering to Yahuwah, male or female, he shall bring it unblemished. Okay. All right. If he bring a lamb for his gift, he shall bring it before Yahuwah. If he shall lay his hands on the head of his offering, and shall lay it by the doors of the tabernacle of witness, and the priest, the sons of Aaron, shall pour out the blood on the altar round about. He shall bring of the peace offering a burnt sacrifice to Yahuwah. The fat and the hinder part unblemished shall take away he shall take away with the loins, having taken away all the fat that covers the belly, and all the fat that is on the belly, and both the kidneys and the fat that is upon them, and that which is on the thighs, the caul which is on the liver, with the kidneys. The priest shall offer these on the altar. It is a sacrifice of sweet savor, a burnt offering to Yahuwah. And if his offering be of the goats, then shall he bring it before Yahuwah. Okay, notice how the priest shall offer these on the altar. Okay, again, we're seeing that the priests have to offer these sacrifices. Notice that. Okay, and if his offering be of the goats, then shall he bring it before Yahuwah, and he shall lay his hands on its head, and they shall slay it before Yahuwah by the doors of the tabernacle of witness. And the priest, the sons of Aaron, shall pour out the blood on the altar round about, and he shall offer it. Notice it says sons of Aaron in context, and then it says, and he shall offer it. Who's the he? The sons of Aaron. So one of the sons of Aaron would offer it. And he shall offer it a burnt offering to Yahuwah, even the fat that covers the belly, and all the fat that is on the belly, and both the kidneys and all the fat that is upon them, that which is upon the thighs, and the caul of the liver, with the kidneys shall he take away. And the priest shall offer it upon the altar. It is a burnt offering, smells sweet savor to Yahuwah. All the fat belongs to Yahuwah. And I think this is where people get confused, and people say you can never eat the fat. What is the context of this chapter we're reading right now? Think about it, okay? It's talking about the fat of his sacrifices, okay? It's not saying fat in general, that you can never eat fat in general, okay? What's the header even of this chapter? Laws for peace offerings. This is not laws for killing animals, okay? Yeah, let's be careful. Let's be careful and make a distinction between laws for how you're supposed to kill an animal to eat it and laws for sacrifices. This is laws for sacrifices, okay? All the fat belongs to Yahuwah. What is this referring to? The burnt offering, okay? And the priest shall offer it. It's talking about the priest. We're not a Levitical priest. This can't be referring to just killing an animal in general. If you read it fully with the context, and the priest, who's the priest? The sons of Aaron. The sons of Aaron are the priests. Shall offer it upon the altar. Obviously, this is not a commandment for eating animals in general, with the fat part, okay? Because it wouldn't start out talking about offerings and sacrifices if it was fat in general can never be eaten. All the fat belongs to Yahuwah, meaning all of the fat of the sacrifices are to be burned on the altar, are to be given to Yahuwah. The fat of the sacrifices are always to be given to Yahuwah. They are never to be eaten. Okay? It is a perpetual statute throughout your generations, all your habitations. You shall eat no fat and no blood. And I think people, again, I really think people, it's very unwise to take this one verse completely out of context when the whole chapter is talking about the peace offerings. The whole chapter is talking about peace offerings, okay? Clearly, it's not saying that you can never eat fat, ever. And that obviously, we need to use context, common sense. This is talking about the fat of the peace offerings. Just because it doesn't verbatimly say, do not eat fat of the peace offerings, or do not eat fat of my sacrifices, that if we interpret this meaning we can never eat fat of any animal, you're missing the whole point of the whole chapter. The whole chapter is talking about laws for sacrifices, specifically laws for the peace offerings. So, I mean, I would really recommend you pray about this before you take this one verse completely out of context. When the verse right before it gives you context. It says that it's talking about the priest shall offer it. We're not offering sacrifices today, guys. Okay? This isn't we can't keep this commandment for today because the only fat that Yahuwah restricts us from is the fat of the sacrifices. That's why you got to take. Let me explain this, guys, new believers here. When reading a isolated verse like this, you either want to look for the next verse for context or the previous verse for context. You always want to look for the verse before it or after it for context. Never take a vague commandment in a verse like this without context. Because I'm telling you right now, there's and anyone that wants to know more about this topic and why interpreting it like this, you're going to have contradictions in scripture. I'm going to leave a link to a video by 119 Ministries, a really good video showing why it would be a contradiction to interpret you can never eat the fat of an animal ever, and that this is obviously, this commandment's referring obviously to the, if you take the context of the previous 16 verses, it's referring to the context of the peace offerings. If you interpret that the other way, that it's a general commandment, you can never eat fat ever, you're going to have problems. Okay, so anyway, so I'll leave the link in the description when I upload this video and why there's a problem to interpret that Yahuwah is telling us we can never eat the blood ever. Even when we just kill an animal, you know, generally speaking. Because as far as the commandments he gives us on how to kill animals, he never, ever says in those contexts, you never eat the fat. When he talks about, and we just read this the other day, I think it was like the later chapters in Exodus. It might have been the last 2 or 3 chapters of Exodus. He mentions, you know, or it might have been, I might have read in Deuteronomy 11. I think it was Deuteronomy 11 or 12 the other day, and it does not mention the fat. So that's something I think I'm going to bring up real quick just to show there would be a contradiction. The blood is mentioned. The blood is mentioned when talking about what are they to do when they just kill an animal to kill an animal for food, not as a sacrifice. So there is a difference. There is a distinction, okay? So this is Deuteronomy 12. This is, but they're already about to be in the land at this point. So let me just go. Shall carry out there for you will offerings. Your offerings are heard. Please know the site. That's it. Shall be a place. Here we go, verse 15. It starts at Deuteronomy 12:15 on the context of how we're supposed to eat animals and whether or not there's a commandment not to eat the fat of an animal when referring to just killing an animal to eat as a meal, okay? But you shall kill according to all your desire. You shall eat the flesh according to the baraka of Yahuwah your Elohim, which he has given you in your city. The unclean that is within you, meaning, you know, ceremonially clean or unclean, you know, if you touched a dead body or whatever, it would make you ceremonially unclean, shall eat it on equal terms as the doe or the stag. Only you shall not eat the blood. Now, if Leviticus 3:16 and 17 was referring to even when you kill animals for you to eat and not has nothing to do with offerings, if the other people's interpretation of Leviticus 3:16 and 17 was correct, this would be the perfect opportunity for Yahuwah to establish this commandment that you can never eat the fat ever of an animal. But he doesn't even mention fat here. And this is commandments talking about when you kill an animal to eat, okay? These are specific commandments Yahuwah gives when you kill an animal to eat. And what does he say? It says, only that you shall not eat the blood. So the only thing you don't eat is the blood. He clearly is not excluding the fat of an animal. So what do we have to say then? Okay, Deuteronomy 12:16. Okay, so far that's the only commandment I came across so far in reading the Torah. I'm not done with reading the Torah yet. but that is the only commandment I've seen that is specific about what are you to do when you get into the land and you kill for food, right? You need to kill an animal to eat for food, right? And he's saying, you know, if you desire to eat meat, just to kill an animal to eat it, not as a sacrifice, okay? There's a difference between killing an animal and offering an animal for a sacrifice, okay? There's a distinction, okay? In Deuteronomy 12, it gives you, 12, 15, and 16 gives you the commandment on how to do that. And Yahuwah only excludes the blood. We have to understand the difference between commandments that are for sacrifices in Leviticus 3 and the commandment that deals with actually killing animals for food, okay? And again, if that still doesn't convince you, I'm going to give a video by 119 Ministries. They go even deeper into it and give even more and more examples on how that would be a contradiction to interpret that you can never eat the fat of an animal, ever. So thank you for tuning in today. I pray that all of our brothers and sisters, sorry about that, I shouldn't be having my hat on when I say that. I pray that all my brothers and sisters out there have a great preparation day, and anyone that likes the studies that we do, please like, share, and subscribe. Click on the notification bell, okay? And any brothers and sisters looking for fellowship, again, please just reach out to us. We've got a Facebook page, Awakened by Yahuwah Fellowship Assembly in Yahuwah Almighty and Yahushua Messiah. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for bearing with me. Have a great rest of your day. See ya.